Hi everyone, and welcome to the What's New in HYPACK Q2 video. Today we will be showcasing the new updates and features that you can take advantage of in our Q2 release. Our presenters for today's presentation are John Lindberg, QC Manager, and Rob Baird from HYPACK Technical Sales. They both bring great expertise to our company, and we're happy to have them here with us today.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Yeah, we're excited to talk about the Q2 release. Obviously, we have the new install coming every year after that year's HYPACK training conference, and this year was no different. Even though we had the virtual training conference, our first ever, we followed through and released HYPACK 2021 in February 1st, actually, of 2021. You can always get your downloads right from www.hypack.com. And there, although the install is available to anyone, as far as the updates are concerned, you're going to only get them if you're a HYPACK maintenance plan user. That's the only way you're going to be able to use these updates. And you can see the dates as listed there. The Q1 update was released on April 12th. And so all of the files and the folders will have those dates. And so if your maintenance plan expires prior to that, you're not going to be able to have those updates actually used within your install of 2021. So that's why it's so important to be on the maintenance plan. And you can see here, July 12th was the date of the Q2 update. And that's what we're here to talk about today with the Quality Control Manager of HYPACK, John Lindberg, who's going to bring us through all these latest developments and what's going on, especially in the background. There's some exciting stuff going on under the hood, if you will, with HYPACK 2021.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of changes over the past, ever since the HYPACK 2021 came out. We've been trying to release these quarterly releases and adding a lot of features, so people aren't overwhelmed when we come out with the actual final release at the beginning of the year. So when it comes down to the quarterly installs, for anybody that's not familiar, as Rob said, you could go up to the hypack.com, our website. You go to the programs and updates, which I believe is under supports, and you'll see a list, as you see up here on the left-hand side of the screen, the HYPACK 2021 Q2 updates. Downloads as a zip file. And these quarterly updates are cumulative, meaning that you don't have to download the Q1 updates if you haven't gotten those, or if you have a brand new computer, you want to install the latest, download the HYPACK 2021 install, the original install, and then just simply add the Q2 updates. You don't have to bother with the Q1 updates if you don't want to. One thing, it's a Windows security issue that's been creeping up over the past couple of years. We've learned the hard way by from customers having these issues. But Windows seems to block a lot of zip files that are being downloaded from the internet. So what you need to do is actually unblock these. So once you download this zip file, you can go to that zip file in the download folder, right-click on it. You'll get a little dialog like you see here on the screen. Click on Properties. It'll bring up another window that'll have the HYPACK 2021 Q2 updates zip properties. At the bottom right, you'll see a little checkbox that says unblocked. Just check that, click on Apply, and then OK. So once you do that, now you can extract all these files and copy those right into your HYPACK 2021 folder. It'll update and overwrite the existing files, and you'll be good to go with the Q2 updates.
And if the updates come into your HYPACK 2021 folder and you do not get a prompt to overwrite existing files, chances are something went wrong along the way. Sometimes Windows will do some funny stuff, and you'll see that all of the files are in a Windows folder, a regular folder, but not extracted to the actual root HYPACK 2021 folder.
Right. We try to make it easy that you can just open up the zip file and basically drag all the files out of there into your HYPACK 2021 folder. But a lot of times Windows can do some funky things like creating its own HYPACK updates folder, and everything gets copied in there. So just be aware of that when you're copying. And HYPACK support can always help you if you have any issues. Okay, one of these items that we actually introduced during Q1, and we're pretty much going full tilt, are these soft licenses. We introduced earlier, late last year and in the 2021 release, a locked licensing scheme where you can basically take your dongle and take the license off of that and copy it into the computer. We have a new feature now called, which we're calling soft licenses. There's online licensing, kind of partial to dongle-de-gongle. But I don't know if that'll fly with our marketing group. But yeah, I might be able to copyright it or something and use it in the future. Anyway, what this is doing, it's a web-based license activation and deactivation. So you would get sent a code from support or via HYPACK rather than get a dongle, and you can take this code, activate your computer. As you'll see, there's a little option in the license manager, activate, deactivate soft license down here. Brings up a window like this, and you can click on the activate button, enter your code, and it'll activate HYPACK on that computer. If I need to go over to another computer, or I have one of my colleagues is across the country or something, rather than send them the key, I could deactivate it on my computer, send him the code, and he can get it working on that computer. Kind of a nice feature. This is available in the Q2 release, and I think this is going to be a big plus for us, for a lot of customers who don't want to carry around a dongle, risk losing it, and it's just another piece of hardware that can easily break or get dropped in the water or whatever, what have you.
Yeah, we had a technician out on a job last week. Josh Bay went down to Baton Rouge, did a job, and construction dredging company had 2 dongles. They've had them for many years, and they chose this just last week. They went with this option as they heard about it. They said, okay, updated their maintenance, made sure everything was current. We went out on site and did some training, and sure enough, they wanted this feature, and so they activated the license, and at the end of the training, they were able to hand back their dongles, and Josh took them home with us, and he brought them back to the office. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, they don't have to worry about having a dongle on site anymore. It's out of sight, out of mind, and one less step for their dredgers on site to worry about.
Great, yeah. Okay, another feature we've added we'll go with the shell first, the HYPACK shell. We call the main, people call the administrator screen and whatnot. But in the main screen, we've added a few options. One is this hazard contour control. We've had this available in survey for a long time, where you can create your tin model contours, and you can highlight the hazard contour right in the shell based on the water level. It'll highlight in red, and based on water level and whatever you have in the draw settings that you see down below here. So you have the display option here, where you can choose whether you want the red hazard, shallower, or all the contours and so on. The hazard control contour value, the control value, and then also the water level, which would adjust accordingly. So it's just a nice feature to be able to view your area without having to go into the survey program. Okay, we've added a couple new menu items. One is the environmental editor, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and also the OBJ editor, which I'll also talk about. The environmental editor is under the processing menu. OBJ editor is under the preparation editors with all the other editors. We're constantly updating our language database. We've recently had the Polish language updated. If people are, English is your second language, we do have a lot of options available. Spanish, Russian, Japanese, Chinese, and so on. Polish is one of them also. So if you're working in Poland and you feel more comfortable with the Polish menu items, you're good to go here. Another nice feature we've added are for E and C charts. This was requested by, I believe, one of the core districts. The E and C charts will have these mile markers, as you see on the screen. It says normal over here. Well, when things are piling up on your survey screen, these can be a little bit hard to see. So we put an option under the S57 display options called under where it says distance marks at the below, and you can increase the size 1 times, 2 times, 3, 4 times, and so on. And on the right hand, we did a +2 increase size. So you see that those mile markers really stand out. It's just a nice, convenient feature to help you out in the field.
I know river dredgers have previously relied on a DXF overlay to get that feature and have those mile markers. It's nice for them not to have to worry about the extra step.
Exactly, yeah. These ENC charts have a lot of information that's really convenient to display. Project colors, we changed the project colors, I believe it was last year, 2020 maybe. Where we are using color files. We had all these palettes previously, which were kind of a pain to use. They didn't really work in other programs, and we tried to revamp the entire color dialogues where it works the same in all the programs now. So what we did over this last quarter is we gave the ability to, in the sounding colors tab, is to change the colors for every survey map in survey. For a lot of folks probably don't even realize that you can have up to 6 maps in the survey program. Most people are using 1, maybe 2, but on a lot of dredges, especially the big dredges, you got quite a few people, monitors all over the place that are looking at the data differently. So they might want to have, the colors based on, I don't know, a color menu based on the project depth, another one just on the entire color palette of your data and everything. So you could go in here and change the colors. So as we see here on the screen, we've got 6 different maps with 6 different color palettes all highlighted here on the screen. So it's very simple. Just select from the different maps here, the HCF file, and then you're good to go. Go into survey and you'll see all those maps are updated accordingly.
And that's great. If you have like a depth versus channel or any of those other options you alluded to, you might want to see a completely different set of colors to represent what your Z value is.
Exactly. Yeah. Up on the bridge, you might have one color based on hazards or something like that, and another one based on the channel depth. So it is a nice handy feature. Geodesy. Our Geodesy program had actually been built into the shell a couple of years ago. For those of you that use VDatum, you know that you've had to download the VDatum zones from HYPACK. Well, we made a change recently too for Q2 where now you can actually go to the NOAA website. It's listed here up on the at the top, the vdatum.noaa.gov, and you can just download these zones directly from there. You can unzip them and copy them to the HYPACK 2021 folder. There's a datum folder in there. All these files are unzipped into a VDatum folder that's how it's set up in the on the NOAA website. So you drag that VDatum folder right into the datum folder in HYPACK, and they'll be populated in the Geodesy program. You'll see it has a different kind of naming scheme here, as you see at the bottom. This is the actual folder name that you can download from NOAA. For this example, when you go to the NOAA site, again, most people will use 1 or 2 zones at the most, but if you want to download all of them, you can go up to the top here, choose the VDatum regional zip file. But in this example, okay, we're in Connecticut, so I want the New Jersey, New York, Connecticut one, Northern New Jersey, New York Harbor, blah, blah, blah. You'll see there's a version 3.4 at the end here. What was going on is that our database would query the folders inside that VDatum folder, the geodetic database. And if it didn't find the proper folder, it wouldn't display it. And this got to be a bit of a pain. So for example, if NOAA updated it to a newer version, say 3.5, the program couldn't see this entire title. So now we've decided to look for any folder that contains GTX files. GTX are your VDatum files, and they're all based on, mean low water, sea level, and so on. So now it's a little different, where you have to recall what the folder name is. Easy to go check on the website and look for it. You can tell if you hover your cursor over this New Jersey, New York item here. On the lower left-hand side, it gives you that that zip file name, and that's the folder name in which all the GTX files are installed.
I think it's great because it's in the background. You don't think about it too much, but it means we're doing less bookkeeping or less storage also. Do you remember the original VDatum download, and the install was about a gig itself?
Just the VDatum install.
VDatum.
Yeah, and most people need 1 or 2 zones, so you could go up here and if you want this New Jersey, New York one, it's only 17 megabytes zip.
Right.
So it's a much better convenience for the customer.
Right, so that picture that we're looking at the top where it says title datums in NAVD88, that entire listing there, those and so many more would all be incorporated into that and built into HYPACK, and it was on us to always oversee the updates and everything else. It's so much more intuitive now. You go out and you get it directly from NOAA, and it's less for us to have to do in the background.
Right, yeah. If NOAA decided to make their changes mid-year, we'd have to create a brand new 1 plus gigabyte install, and then the customer would have to do the same things, download it and run the installer. And a lot of government agencies, even a lot of private corporations don't allow installers to run on computers. So this makes it a lot easier by just unzipping the data right onto your computer.
And VDatum has been a very popular option for going about your title corrections.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. A couple other things we've added. We've added Minnesota County projections as a predefined grid. You can hit the drop-down menu for the grids here, list it, and it lists all the different, well, it says zones, but they're counties. We had an issue with the VDatum to XYZ routine in the last version. We fixed that. What this tool does, it takes the VDatum zone that's set up, exports it to an XYZ file. So you can compare your separation values from there to separation values that you might have calculated, hand calculated for your survey area, just to verify that everything is pretty close. We've also updated internally to include the latest EPSG codes, and this is for future. We're planning on being able to select Geodesy based on the EPSG code for that area. Okay. Drivers, we've had the Echotrac E20 single beam echo sounder driver for about a year, maybe 2 years or so. We've recently updated it to support a 32-bit echogram. This is the output of the echogram output of the E20, so it's logged at full quality. There's no downsampling. Survey device window, as you see up on the screen, has signal range buttons over here, so you can adjust the display brightness and contrast. And also the editors, the single beam editor, SBMax 32 and SBMax 64 have been updated to process these. We still process the 16-bit echograms, no problem, but we're also able to handle these 32-bit echograms for the E20.
Yeah, this is so important now that the CV series has been, well, not discontinued, but at least the new sale of them, right? You can still find them out there, but they're no longer manufacturing them.
Right.
And so this is the new series to go with this Echotrac, and it's a very popular unit.
Yep, especially amongst the Army Corps folks.
Yeah.
More driver updates and enhancements. We've had an issue with the advanced nav INS. We've had data, but actually getting it out in the field was a hassle. We found there was an issue with the heave being inverted, so we fixed that. We've done some enhancements and bug fixes to the DQM mechanical DLL, which is a dredge device driver. Also added support for the US Digital T7 inclinometer. The geodometer driver, we added support for the Trimble S6 robotic total station. Magnet, the magnet DLL is our magnetometer driver. We've changed the marine magnetics labels to be a bit more clear. They were a little bit confusing based on the actual output of you'd have to go into the marine magnetics manual to figure out which message it was. So we tried to be a bit more clear with the labels for the different devices that you choose, and also added support for the JW Fisher Proton 5. The POSM-V driver, this has been a long-standing bug that if somebody unchecked the tide option with it, that it would actually crash survey. I think I think that's the first time I've seen anybody not use Tide with the Posit V driver in quite a long time. So we fixed that. And also, we've done a couple modifications to the Towfish DLL, our tow cable, our towed layback cable. Added a LCI 90 legacy option. They've made some changes to their output datagrams, and they have their default legacy one, which has been around for a long time. So we're supporting the newer ones and also the legacy. We added reset towfish position, repositions the towfish at its maximum cable length right behind the vessel. If you just got survey set up and you go in there, towfish driver, and enter, I don't know, a 300-meter cable out, it'll look like a bit of an accordion type cable on the back. So sometimes it looks unsettling. If you hit the reset, it just pops the towfish directly behind the boat.
So a lot of behind the scenes stuff here, some bug fixes. I'm excited about the DQM mechanical because that's for our crane installations. And we're seeing so many more of these crane dredging jobs. There's a lot that the Army Corps has out there, and there's a lot of private jobs as well. But there's been a lot of requests for this also to support additional sensors on them, and not just one kind or two kinds. So the T7 gives us a little more flexibility with an install.
Okay. Here we go. All right. We've introduced at the beginning of the year what we survey beta. It's in the survey drop-down menu in the shell. Our code name for it is RAD survey. We are always referring it around the office as RAD survey because of the code base that's being used, that it was converted over from Visual Studio, I believe. And there's been a lot of updates and fixes that now that it's out in the field and it's getting tested, we can match everything that we're doing in what we call Classic Survey, which is the same survey program that you've seen for quite a number of years. We've added a few things like adding a bunch of, what do you call them, option menus and stuff to one with separate tabs to make it a lot easier for the customer. With this new code or RAD survey program, it offers a lot of opportunity to make huge changes in terms of usability and stuff, and stuff that we couldn't do with the old survey program. So pretty excited about this. Actually, Rob and I have been out in the field testing, and a lot of the customers that we tested were commenting how smooth the boat moves on the screen. And aside from different icons or the different look of icons, as you see on the top here, it behaves and interacts as the original Classic Survey.
Right, that was the only thing that they said at first was, oh, the icons are different. But then as soon as survey started and we got out there, we're running lines, the ease of use is probably, a little bit better, but the visual aspects of it and watching your boat update smoothly and more realistically than it would have in the past, no buffering or skipping or whatever you want to call it, it made for a nice display, and both the operators and the survey engineers were able to see it immediately. So it'll be nice when we just phase out perhaps the RAD survey and just call it survey next year.
Right, that's the plan, is that you click the survey icon and it'll pop up RAD survey next year. And for most people, it'll behave just as good, if not better, than the old version, and it just offers us a lot of opportunity to change the ergonomics and usability of this program. So pretty excited about getting this out there and having people use it. The survey log is a program that we did, I believe it was for the Jacksonville Corps quite a number of years ago, and we've made a lot of changes to it recently. This is a program that's in the drop-down menu, the survey drop-down menu in the shell, and it keeps track of all the files that are collected over the course of the day, and it allows you to create reports and everything. Well, we've done a lot of features over the past few months where it'll actually save all the information, like the header information and the file information, to a CSV file. I believe it's in the, I can't remember, I think it's in the regular HYPACK folder. So in the event, we've seen it happen numerous times where somebody accidentally closes out or the computer crashes and they lose all that information. Now, if they accidentally close out, they can reopen the survey log program, and then just import that CSV file. They can also import if they can also save, export the header information, all the stuff that you see up the top here, and re-import it. If they have similar data, they could create it and then maybe just change the boat name and the surveyor and so on. And you can also import a HYPACK log file, and it'll populate the area down below here. So there's a lot of different features here. The export the sheet to, I believe it always did a PDF file, but we also added the options to save it to XLS and CSV formats. So
I love the benchmark information, the datum information, all great stuff. And these are questions that if you're in tech support and you're answering a call from someone that can't figure out their title bust or their datum issue or whatever it might be, this is great stuff to know about. And if it's included in and you can see this, then hopefully down the road it might solve some issues and keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. OBJ Editor, I mentioned about the drop-down menu that we've added for this under the editors. This is a pretty cool tool. It's used to import OBJ files, which are 3D objects, into the real-time cloud program, and also as the 3D shape in our HYPACK hardware program. If you recall, in hardware, we added a 3D vessel display, so you can look at your offsets, right, in 3D, visually see where the devices are located. So the idea of these OBJ files is that they're pretty much there's a lot of free sources up on the web for download. You can download a lot of these. We're not supplying them ourselves because I'm sure there's copyright issues. But when you download these, a lot of times there's no regards as to what's considered, the bow or whatever, forward on your vessel. So you can take these files into the OBJ editor. You can apply textures. You can define what's your X, Y axis. You can increase or decrease the height, length, width, and so on, and then import it into the real-time cloud. So here's an example of downloading a old Dodge Challenger. Somebody put a lot of effort into creating this OBJ file, and I took it into the OBJ editor. Probably had to do a couple tweaks to it, apply the textures so you can see there's a person inside here. You see the colors of the tires and, the door handles and the hood scoop and everything, and then saved it out and imported it right into the real-time cloud program. So there's a ton of boats and things up there, golf carts, whatever you want to use for your vessel. Superman, Batman, Iron Man, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Just make sure you got your X, Y straight, and then after that, you're good.
Exactly, yeah. SBMax 64. We've done mentioned earlier about the echogram from the E20, the Echotrac E20 driver, and here's the just an example of the echogram screen in SBMax 64. We did that, and also in SBMax 64, we've done a lot of changes to the overlay. It worked okay, but we've just made it a lot more functional to be able to import additional overlays, sort them properly, put them in the right spot, and then get them to display on the screen. So that's all been added to the SBMax, and we're doing a lot of changes over you'll see a lot of changes coming up in the next quarter. MBMax 64. We've done a lot of cool things for the main, I guess you would call it the survey window. We've added a lot more options to show and disable things like, the little crosshairs that draw on the screen. A lot of people, they like the imagery that you see on the main screen, and you don't want to see that when you export, the little crosshairs on it. So you can disable and turn on things like, the cloud sections on a screen. The direction arrows is kind of a nice feature that we added for the track lines. So you know which way they were run, so you could turn the direction arrows on and off. You can actually display the sound velocity cast. So with a lot of these newer systems, when you collect sound velocity, like the Castaway, the Veil Porch, and the AML Bluetooth and Wi-Fi versions that they have. They actually have a built-in GPS, so we store the GPS position of the cast. So we can display the location of those sound velocity casts on the screen also. Another nice feature. What else do we have? Intermittent problems. Okay, sounding colors. We've got a lot of the sounding color changes there. Sonar frequency can be read from either the RMB or SNR records. It depends on the device. So some of them are older, probably used the SNR records, and we moved some of them to the RMB or the other way around. I can't really remember. We also have the option. It's going to save the WGS 84 positions to the HS2X. What we added functionality-wise recently in HYPACK was to be able to save the WGS 84 positions right into the file, because there's a GPS recalc function. I think there's a slide coming up on that. And before, you had to use the raw data file adjustments and grab the lat long out of there if you want to recalc, using a different VDatum file or geoid model or even zone. So we've added that functionality, and it also saves all that information in the HS2X.
Max 64 programmer Mike Comback, always keeping busy.
Oh, that's for sure.
Lots of requests every year.
Yeah. Environmental editor. This is the one I mentioned earlier. There's a drop-down menu. It's basically our mag edit program, which was designed to work in what we're calling a special water quality mode. We have a water quality package that's going to be introduced later on this year, early next year. Launch it from the processing environmental editor, and it brings up this the mag edit program in water quality mode. It's basically can display up to 32 different items in the spreadsheet. So you can export all these items to text files. You can display them on the screen. You can actually contour individual ones right in the program. You see there's a couple options that you load up your data set here. You specify whichever version. You can click on. It has a sorting routine built in, so it'll thin out your data set a little bit, makes for better contours. And then you can also contour right in the program, which is a really nice feature. So you can see what you got on the screen. If you don't like it, you can clear them out and redo it again. And then it saves your standard HYPACK DXF of contours, and also it'll save a sorted XYZ file. We also supporting the YSI EXO bin files. What a little caveat is they all have to contain the same data combination. So if you've got different EXOs, you've got to process them separately, which rightly so. But if you're collecting with the same unit over and over, you can process multiple EXO bin files. Yeah, that's pretty much the environment.
Powerful, I think, because it's just XY plus whatever Z value you have out there, whatever the data, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. The sorting and the contouring, those are the power tools really to take your data, and again, it's always just X, Y, and then whatever other piece of data is included in. And the mag edit's been the structure for us to offer that up to the users.
Prior to that, with the SB Max, you can only bring in 2 values, depth 1 and depth 2. It doesn't have to be depth; it could be anything. A mag value. We can handle these mags that have 5 different gamma values and so on in this program. Whereas before with SB Max, you can only pick 2 at a time. So you can imagine trying to run through 32 different values that are coming out of this device and have to run single beam editor 16 times. So it's certainly a convenience here. And we're planning on introducing the sorting and contouring routines in the editors in the near future too.
Which is great, because then you don't have to go out to a sort program or out to tin model. You can do it right there, and that's really very convenient.
Yeah, one-stop shop. One-man band. Okay, and the cross sections and volumes. We've added an option per demand to export these sections out to image files. So you can go to the print tab there. You can set up the way you want to print, rather send it to a printer. You can hit the export button, and you have an option to save these, one or multiple to or a selection to JPEG, PNG, and bitmap images. Give it a file name and click it on, it's going to save it out to this CSV images folder that's stored in your edit folder within your projects, and your image can be, copied and pasted into different documents. Okay, and that's pretty much it. As we come out with quarterly updates, if you're on our mailing list, right, you get the information sent to you directly to your email. If you go browse around on our website, you'll see the drop-down menu under About HYPACK. You'll see the Sounding Better newsletter. And every quarter, we're releasing the Sounding Better newsletter to coincide with the quarterly updates. So we try to put the main features in as articles to help you follow along with these new updates.
And we're also now ready to work with the soft license. So if anyone out there wants to make that conversion now, just please contact us at HYPACK, because we're now equipped to move folks over from having to physically have the dongle to no longer needing that with the soft license. So come on in.
Yeah. And that's it, I think.
All right. Yeah. Again, John Lindberg, Quality Control Manager for HYPACK. Thank you again so much.
You got it. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you guys so much. We hope everyone enjoyed this presentation and that it gave them a better understanding of the Q2 updates and features. If you would like to take advantage of these updates, you can check your maintenance plan status and renew it by contacting us at mp@hypack.com. And for any other questions, we can be reached at sales@hypack.com. And don't forget to check us out on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for upcoming news and updates.